We put together a timeline here, curating a number of books that Epstein bought over the course of a decade. And the books include titles such as The Annotated Lolita, Nietzsche's The Birth of Tragedy, which he purchased. Right. Those are his final purchases back in 2019, before he died and was found dead in a New York jail cell. He bought lots of books about Donald Trump's presidency in his first term. That was back in 2018. He bought Michael Wolff's book, Fire and Fury, and from the emails that were released by the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday, we see Michael Wolff playing a very prominent role in having these discussions with Epstein as it relates to Trump. The books are really wide-ranging. I mean, there's a book on, stocks for dummies. There's
that was surprising for me to see. Like, this guy managed so much money.
He was so wealthy.
And there was this whole Bitcoin and blockchain and Ethereum phase too. But stocks for dummies, Jason?
Yeah, it was a gift.
I mean, I was going to say, maybe it was a gift for someone. Maybe that's the secret to his success. Stocks for dummies. Have to give it a read. There, lots of books that he purchased. 5 or so titles of that Woody Allen wrote, who was his neighbor. There's a book that was actually released about him by James Patterson, and he bought 17 copies of. And that also factored into the release of emails by the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday. So when you read this, when you sort of look at this timeline and see how the purchases kind of line up with some key dates around the investigation that was taking place, the federal investigation between 2006 and 2008, you sort of get this window into his thinking. It's strange and unusual to sort of look at Jeffrey Epstein's books, but it's also hard to look away, because I don't want to. When I say fascinating, it's fascinating in the sense of what was he, what was he thinking? What was going on? There's books on narcissism, that he bought. There are books on secret empires, understanding the political mind. I mean, it's just so wide ranging, but it feels as if it's in some way a window into this enigma that is Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, and that's where I kind of wanted to go with you, Jason, because you are spending a lot of time trying to figure out, who he is, right? And, right now, all we have to him, Tim and I have talked about this kind of off air. I mean, ultimately, he's not here. So maybe we will never, ever know the truth. But in the meantime, folks like yourself, we're trying to kind of piece this together and what's the there, right? And there's a lot of stuff that keeps coming out. At the same time, we know same thing as it applies to well-known folks, whether in Washington or elsewhere. But I do think, I am curious, as you continue to dig deeper, I don't know, how are you thinking about this individual? And what's next? Well, is there a lot more out there potentially that could help fill in the holes here?
It's a really, really good question, Carol. And I mean, in terms of what's next, this is certainly not a topic, if you will, that's going to die down. I mean, this is going to continue because, one, you have the questions as it relates to the federal investigation, right? And that federal investigation which has been scrutinized, but questions still remain as to why Jeffrey Epstein got this sweetheart deal. And then there's questions about the money. How did he make his money? What was the source of his wealth? And There's questions around the banks. What did the banks know, and when did they know it? And you can sort of see from what was released a couple of weeks ago as well, what was unsealed in U.S. court, that J.P. Morgan, had filed some suspicious activity reports related to his finances, very late. So there's still lots of questions in many different categories, and then you have the political figures who he surrounded himself with, and the public certainly wants to gain more insight into that. So it's many different buckets that, when you start to piece it all together, it only leads to more questions. And one of those questions are, why were people continuously why were they surrounding him and showering him with praise, even after they knew what the allegations and what he was convicted of?